Hi, welcome to Photoshop CC 2021 Classroom in a Book, chapter number 2 about basic photo corrections. In this one, we're going to go ahead and learn how to deal with some resolution and some size, how to play with some special tools, straighten, crop, make some real basic changes, and create this amazing family photo for someone. So let's go ahead and think about retouching in general. When we retouch, there's kind of an order of events. First, you're going to duplicate the image just to make sure in case something happens, you've got one to go back to. You're going to make sure you look at the resolution. You're going to crop. We've got to look at, looking at contrast and color cast. We're going to put flaws. Then we want to adjust the color and sharpen the image. So if you kind of do things in that order, it really is going to make your life a little bit easier. All right, so page 35 and 36 go into a lot about resolution. I'm not going to go through that part right now. So let's go ahead and go into Photoshop. And I want to go to File, and I want, Browse in Bridge. So you do need to have Bridge installed. If you don't, then stop right now and go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go Browse in Bridge, and it's going to go ahead and pop Bridge up for me. Now, Bridge is kind of like a file explorer or finder for your files, because typically you see just a little thing that says PS or InDesign, and you don't really know what it is. So I'm going to come down here to where I've got my folder. And here I've got all the different folders for all the different lessons. And we are in lesson number 2. So here I've got a couple different things going on. I've got my end file and my start. Down here at the bottom of Bridge, you can use that scale to kind of look at things a little bit bigger. So if you look, at our original image, we've got a big crease. We can see it's crooked. We've got an extra guy. We've got quite a few things going on, and it's kind of yellowish, kind of grayed out. So we're really going to do quite a few things to fix this one. So I'm going to go ahead on this start.tiff and right click and open with Photoshop. First thing I'm going to do is do a file save as. We're going to make sure we're in our lesson 2 folder, and I'm going to do first initial last name _ Photoshop Classroom in a Book, chapter 2. I want to make sure I save it as a PSD and say save. All right, so when we do this, the first thing we want to do is look at our resolution, and we have to think about how we're using it. So whenever I open an image, I always go up here to Image and Image Size. So what do I know about this image? I know that it's 9 inches by 9 inches, that the resolution is 240. So depending on what you're doing, 72 is good enough for a screen. In our class, we're generally going to look towards 300 as being good enough for print, because you can always start big and go smaller. It's really hard to take those little images and go bigger. So if I wanted to, I could not use this as a full page image on a magazine, because a magazine is 8.5 by 11, and clearly I'm 2 inches short. So just, get in the habit of looking at how big are your items. Don't fall in love with an image and do all the fixes and find out that it's really 1 inch by 1 inch and you want it to cover your entire cover. So get in the habit of taking a peek at that image size. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is crop. So we're going to use the crop and straighten function. So if you go to your toolbar, go to the 4th one down. We're going to go up here to our control bar, and we want to do the W by H by resolution. And we want 7 inches by 7 inches, and we want 200 pixels. We want to tell it to go ahead and delete the cropped pixels, which means don't keep them. And we want to straighten it. So straightens that little level bubble. And what we have to do is basically tell it what is straight. So I'm going to take my level, click here at the beginning, click and hold and drag straight across this straight edge, and let go. It is automatically going to go ahead and straighten that out for me. So depending on how you like it, maybe you want it to straighten according to down here, because it's a little bit crooked still. And then we can crop off part of the edge. Still, I don't love that. Let's try one more time. Let's try from up here. Let's see if we get a little bit better. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and we want to crop it a little bit. So we're going to trim it. Let's grab these outside corners and bring them in. Bring it up a little bit. So it's okay that we're cutting off part of the guy because we know we're going to replace him anyway. And when you're good with it, go ahead and say check, and it's going to go ahead and crop that image for you. So now we can see our document. We can see our document sizes, our dimensions. So now we're 7 by 7 inches at 200 pixels, which is exactly what we wanted. Now, if you go to crop something else, if you don't change this or clear it, it will go ahead and keep the same, and you'll have a bit of a headache trying to get things to work on other things. So I want to try one more thing. Let's go to File and Open. And let's go grab that Start TIFF again and say Open. Let's do a File, and we want Automate, and we want Crop and Straighten Photos. So you can see that Photoshop has got it already built in to go ahead and figure out part of that for you. So you can let it work for you. I just wanted to show you that part. You don't have to turn this one in, but I did want you to kind of get to see that there are some automatic ways to do some of these easy things. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that one. I'm back here in my Start TIFF. Oh, undo. Somehow I managed to mess up my thing. All right, so let's go back to my history. Did I close the wrong one? I did close the wrong one. That was dumb. Oh, here we are. All right, there we go. So this is my history right here. My history will let me see all the stages that I've gone through so far. So I did an open save as, and I did a crop. So the history really lets you go back steps. So let's go ahead now. We've cropped it. We're good. Oh, we showed you how to use the crop and straighten. So now we're going to go ahead and adjust the colors. So I'm going to close that history panel. I'm going to make sure I've got my background on, and I want that adjustments layer. So we're going to play with curves and levels. Just playing with curves and levels can make bad pictures much better, pretty easy. So let's start with our curves. Curves is this third one over, kind of looks like a bar graph. And we want to go to this fourth tool down, fourth eyedropper, which is sample to set a white point. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Control plus and zoom in. And I'm going to basically say this is what white should be in this picture. So I'm going to click on the dress and see how it automatically changes the color. Maybe I want to try the white in the skirt, the white in. So it's totally up to you as to which color white you're going to determine as white. So look how easy that was. Look how much brighter we already have it. And we have what's called a histogram down here. So if I wanted to, we could drag and play with that, but I don't really want to do too much with that one. I'm going to do a Control S and save. And I'm going to tell it not to show again. Say OK. And let's go ahead now and do a second adjustment layer, which is levels. Let's go here to adjustments, and we want to look here at levels. And we get this histogram. Let's go ahead and grab these levels and move this first one up to about 15. If you don't get it right, you can always type it in there. And let's go ahead on this middle one. Let's make it 0.9. And you can see how if you drag these around, you're going to lighten and darken different areas. So it's totally up to you as to how you like it. Sometimes, a lot of times just bringing the levels in a little bit helps. Sometimes telling it, okay, this is what I think black should be, will change your colors just a little bit. So just making those couple of adjustments can make a huge difference, especially for pictures that aren't that great to begin with. Now we're going to go ahead. We need to flatten this image in order to make it so we can do some other changes to it. So let's go ahead to our layer and come down here to flatten image. And what it's going to do is take all these layers. So you've got one for levels, for curves and background. It's going to make them one layer. So let's go ahead and tell it to flatten. And so all those changes have now been made to that back image. So let's do a Control S and save what we've got so far. All right, next thing we're going to do is fix this big crease down the middle. So in order to do that, we're going to use our spot healing tool. It looks like a band-aid with a jump rope. So let's grab that spot healing. With spot healing, let's make sure our content aware is turned on. We want our size to be about 25 or so. And our hardness is set at 100%. And let's hit tab. and it'll make it go away. Now we're going to go here into our picture and just drag over in small amounts anything that we see as a blemish. So the spot healing tool is kind of magic that way. Got a little bit of a hair up here. Let's go ahead and fix that. So I like to do small amounts because sometimes if you try and do too much at once, it looks really weird. So look how magically it is just fixing that for us. We could barely see it through here, but we are going to go ahead and fix it. All right, and let's click on here. So you can see how easy it is just to clip and clean up those blemishes, make things look a little bit better. And let's go ahead and do a Control S and save. And I'm going to, oh, we'll keep going. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is, I'm gonna pause it and we'll do the content aware patch next. All right, so let's go ahead and pause and we'll pick up on step 2.